Under our Constitution, we are prohibited from establishing religion, yes?
Absolutely.
Okay.
That's what the establishment clause says.
If you have members of Congress that are legislating laws in accordance with their faith in regards to abortion or LGBTQ or women or any of those things, that should be prohibited within our Constitution.
You are not allowed to impose, through the government, your religious beliefs on others. That is not what religious freedom is about. That's not what our country rests on.
Yeah. For many of us, religious freedom is extremely important. It is life and death in this country. Yes. Many of us fled our countries to come to the United States because that is the one thing that distinguishes us from many countries. But it's also important that we have a secular government.
Did you all just hear that? That was Congresswoman Ilhan Omar, a sitting member of the United States Congress, asking if other members of Congress should be prohibited, her word, prohibited, from legislating based on their faith. This is it, folks. This is the quiet part out loud. This is what we, as conservatives, as Republicans, as supporters of President Trump, have been warning about for years. The radical left, the squad, they don't just disagree with our values. They don't just dislike the pro-life movement or traditional marriage. They want to make it illegal to even be in government if you hold those values. They want to ban Christianity and Judeo-Christian ethics from public life, period. We're about to watch this full clip, and another one where she's grilling the president of Columbia University. I want you to pay close attention to the hypocrisy, the projection, and the flat-out assault on American values. This is what the modern left has become. If you're tired of this, if you're ready to fight back for the soul of this country, do me a favor right now. Hit that like button, subscribe to this channel, and drop a comment below right now with Save America. Let's get into this.
Ms. Omar, you're recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you. President Shafiq, I wanted to get a clarification earlier. One of my colleagues asked you, have you seen anti-Muslim protests on campus?
I have seen, we have had pro-Israeli demonstrations on campus.
No.
But
just
not,
a protest that was
not,
against Muslims.
No, I have
you
not
seen one against Arabs?
No, I have not.
Have you seen one against Palestinians?
No, I have not.
Have you seen one against Jewish people? Have you seen a protest saying we are against Jewish people?
No, I have seen.
Okay, thank you for that clarification. There has been a rise in targeting and harassment against anti-war protesters because it's been pro-war and anti-war protesters is what it seems like, correct?
Correct. There has been.
Okay, thank you. Activists on campus, including Jewish students, Black and Brown, Arab and Muslim students. How many of the organizations that were canceled in Colombia involved Jewish students?
One of the organizations is called Jewish Voices for Peace.
Yes, and encompassed of Jewish students?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. There was there's been a recent attack on the democratic rights of students across the country. I was appalled to learn that in April, Colombia suspended and evicted 6 students for their involvement in the pro-Palestinian panel event on campus. It happened that all 6 students were arbitrarily targeted after the university brought in a team of private and former police investigators. These investigators harassed, intimidated Palestinian students at their homes, demanding to see students' private text messages and sent threatening emails to the leaders of those pro-Palestinian groups. I would like to ask you to speak a little bit more to this situation and ask you if you guys have utilized private former police investigators before, or is this the first time?
So this was a very serious case. We had students who, on an online
If you could
call,
shorten your answer, that would be really appreciated.
of course, who invited people who were inciting violence, and that is unacceptable. And so we needed to get to the bottom of it. And so that's why we brought private investigators along with notifying
how
the
secure
FBI.
were you these students that you evicted and suspended were involved? Did you do any investigation? Was there a hearing?
They refused to cooperate with the investigation, and so until they do so, they are suspended.
Okay, thank you. And then in January, there was an incident involving students that were protesting that were attacked with a toxic chemical substance, leaving many hospitalized. A lot of them did not receive support from the school administrators. Can you speak to what is happening with the investigation, if you all are cooperating, and why weren't the students provided any support after they've experienced that attack?
So this is still with the police, and as far as we know, we think it was an odorous substance, and we did reach out to all of those students who said they were affected. Many of them didn't want support. We also
It took you guys more than 4 days to reach out to students.
No, I don't believe that's correct.
Okay, will you
actually.
respond, give me a written response with the fact that you all responded right away to those students?
Yes, I would be happy to do that.
All right, appreciate that. And it looks like there's been a lot of doxing and harassment that has taken place. What protections are a student being provided?
We created a doxing resources group to support students. There were many students who were affected by this. Muslim students, Jewish students, and completely, other students. That group we had 90 students reach out to that group to get support in terms of both technical support, legal support, privacy scrubbing, and so on.
And before I run out of time, I wanted to ask what do your rules say about professors that harass students online, like Professor Shai Davidar has done, and professors who directly attack you as the president as a coward and a liar?
So, as president, I'm used to being attacked, but attacking our students is unacceptable. And in that case, we've had more than 50 complaints about that professor, and he is currently under investigation for harassment.
Let's break this down because it is just infuriating. First, let's look at that religious freedom hearing. So, she starts with this simple, obvious question. Under our Constitution, we are prohibited from establishing religion, yes? And the witness, Miss Laser, says, absolutely. Okay, fine. The Establishment Clause. We all agree, the government isn't supposed to create a Church of America. Got it. But watch the trap. Watch how fast she twists it. In the very next question, she says, so, if you have members of Congress that are legislating laws in accordance with their faith in regards to abortion, LGBTQ, women, that should be prohibited. Do you see what she just did? She just equated a Republican congressman voting pro-life because he believes life is a sacred gift from God, with illegally establishing a state religion. That is a disgusting and fundamentally dishonest leap in logic. When Ilhan Omar says, legislating based on faith, she's not talking about her faith. She's talking about your faith. She's talking about Christians. She is directly targeting every single Republican, every single conservative, who has a moral compass guided by their faith. She wants to disqualify you from government. And the hypocrisy is just breathtaking. She gives this little speech at the end about how religious freedom is life and death, and how many people fled their countries to come to the United States for it. And then, in the very next breath, she says, but it's also important that we have a secular government. There it is. That's the code. To the radical left, secular government doesn't mean neutral on religion. It means hostile to Christianity. It means a government where faith is scrubbed from every corner of public life. She's literally using the religious freedom that protects her to tear down the religious freedom of the very people who built this country. This is exactly why we need leaders like President Trump, who isn't afraid to say Merry Christmas and who isn't afraid to stand up for our Judeo-Christian values in the public square. Okay, now let's get to this Colombia hearing. This is, if possible, even worse. You've got the president of Colombia, Dr. Shafiq, who is in a completely impossible position. Her campus has been taken over by a radical anti-Semitic mob. Jewish students are being threatened, harassed, told to go back to Poland, and are literally afraid to walk on their own campus. The entire reason for this hearing is this rampant, out-of-control anti-Semitism. So what does Ilhan Omar do? Does she condemn the anti-Semitism? No. Does she ask what's being done to protect Jewish students? Nope. She immediately tries to flip the script. Her first questions are, have you seen any anti-Muslim protests? Have you seen any anti-Arab protests? It's a classic diversion. It's a whataboutism. Dr. Shafiq, to her credit, has to sit there and say no, because they aren't happening. It's a fantasy. It's a straw man Omar built to try and paint the pro-Hamas rule-breaking mobs as the real victims. And then she calls them anti-war protesters. Anti-war? Give me a break. These are not anti-war protesters. They are chanting from the river to the sea, which is a call for the genocide of Jews. They are chanting globalize the Intifada, which is a call for violent uprising. These are the people Ilhan Omar is defending. And then she gets outraged that Dr. Shafiq and the university suspended students and brought in private investigators. Dr. Shafiq says it point blank. These students were suspended because they were inviting people who were inciting violence. They broke the rules, they threatened other students, they created a hostile, dangerous and anti-Semitic environment, and Ilhan Omar's only concern is that they got in trouble for it. It is an upside-down world. And don't get me started on the chemical attack. Omar brings it up like it was a sarin gas attack. Dr. Shafiq calmly explains that the police are investigating, and it was an odorous substance. Folks, it was a stink bomb. And frankly, for all we know, the protesters set it off themselves for sympathy. But Omar treats it as this great crime, while ignoring the actual violence and intimidation aimed at Jewish students every single day. This is the playbook of the squad: defend the mob, attack the institutions, flip the victim and the oppressor, and, as we saw in the first video, lay the groundwork to ban your political opponents from government altogether. This is why the 2024 election was so important, and why every election moving forward is a fight for the soul of America. We are in a battle between people who actually love this country and its values, and people like Ilhan Omar who want to tear it all down and prohibit us from public life. I know where I stand. I stand with Dr. Shafiq for trying to restore order, and I stand with President Trump and the Republican Party for trying to save this country. Let me know what you think. Was I too harsh or not harsh enough? Drop it all in the comments below. Thanks for watching.